Welcome to the Catholic Life Coach Podcast. My name is Carla Fitz. I'm a certified life coach, wife, and mom of two beautiful little girls and a handsome little boy. My hope for this podcast is to support and empower other Catholic women to live their most authentic life, to share life coaching tools from a Catholic perspective in order to help you live a more fulfilling and aligned life filled with peace, joy, and abundance. Let's get started. Hello, my loves, and welcome to this week's episode. I am so excited and blessed to be here with each one of you. Every week is a blessing, and this week especially because we have a new Pope. New beginnings, you guys. I am so excited. New beginnings can tend to be so scary, and I thought I would do a podcast on this. This was in my heart this whole past week. I tried to record different types of podcasts, and things were not coming together. And then I finally had a moment where I was like, oh, I haven't asked God what he wants me to speak about. And this is kind of my rule of thumb when it comes to the podcast. I let him lead. I let him guide our conversations, and I let him guide every single episode so that he says what he needs to say to each one of you and reach your heart and share with you what you guys need to hear. And this past week was a lot about new beginnings. Losing Pope Francis was so sad, and he was a great example. He was a beautiful man. And this past week, receiving our new Pope was such a beautiful moment. As you may already know, we are in France, not in Italy. But being over here closer to the Vatican was just so fun to watch it with, I'm sure, a lot of you. And just watch it unfold, and receiving the new Pope was such a special moment. And it just reminded me of how beautiful it is to receive in our lives a new beginning. And when I mean with a new beginning, I don't mean necessarily big new beginnings. Those too, okay? Those are amazing to receive. But every day, every morning, even every hour is an opportunity to receive a new beginning. One of the things that I find so helpful is reminding ourselves that for God, there is nothing too big to forgive. There is nothing too big to solve. There's nothing too big to let go of. There's nothing too big for God to achieve. And I think if we get in our heads and we think, well, this is how it's worked out, so this is how it'll always be, we prevent ourselves from really stepping up and seeing the possibilities, seeing a different perspective. And one of the things that we need to do in order for us to step into a new beginning and let God do his thing without us being in the way is to let go of our past. One of my favorite practices when it comes to life coaching mixed with our faith is the practice of self-forgiveness, is the practice of, well, first and foremost, confession, having an opportunity to go to the confessionary and let go of those sins that have been holding us back and that are keeping us from his graces and his provision and his light. That first and foremost. But also within the life coaching experience and lifestyle and mixing it with our faith, I think one of the exercises that I absolutely love is practicing writing a letter to our past self in order to forgive her. Because the truth is, as much as sometimes we just want to start over and say, okay, you know what, let's just start over. Let's just pretend none of that happened and we just start over. Sometimes that doesn't stick. And the reason for that is because we haven't allowed ourselves to process the emotions that need to be processed, and also the beliefs and the lies, and called out the things that we had been believing up to now that have led us in a path that perhaps we do not want to be living in. And I'm not necessarily talking about a sinful path necessarily, but even the path of not being willing to say yes, to go after the things that God has put in our hearts, the path of being too afraid to do something even though we feel so called to it, the path of pretending that we need to be in charge, the path that we take when we want to have control over things or want to know how things are going to turn out, rather than abandoning ourselves in God's hands and letting him lead the direction of our lives. This is also part of that life that we don't necessarily want to be living into, because we don't let his light shine through us in the magnitude that can be shined when we let him come through everything that we do. And when we're willing to be scared, when we're willing to say yes to uncomfortable emotions, and sometimes the pasts that we need to let go of is painful pasts. Past in which perhaps we have sinned, pasts in which we have hurt others and hurt ourselves, in which we have been telling ourselves we are not good enough, we are not worthy enough, we are not capable enough. Pasts in which we hold ourselves back from being the woman He's calling us to be. And in doing so, also a past in which by holding ourselves back, we have also prevented those that need to be touched by us to be touched, which I think is a terrible ripple effect to go into. This is why it's like the things that I talk about in this podcast and the things that I coach my clients on is really stepping into the version of themselves that God is calling them to. The version of themselves that feels uncomfortable to go after. The version of themselves that is willing to leave the comfort zones and put themselves in a position that they're seen, that allows others to see God through the work that they are doing and the lives that they are living. I want to encourage each one of you to really live an authentic life. And to do that, we need to leave behind the things that are holding us back. That's why the practice of writing a letter to our past self is so powerful. Because in that letter, we write down all the old beliefs that we have been holding about our past, thinking that she was bad or terrible and not worth the time of day. And that is not true. Your past self has brought you to where you are at right now. Your past self has good things that brought you to this current reality. Not all of it is bad. And sometimes writing that letter and forgiving ourselves for the mistakes and forgiving ourselves for the beliefs that we have been buying into can be so powerful in order to move forward in a different direction. The mistake, I think, is to believe that all we need to do is kind of put the things behind and pretend never happened. And I think the powerful thing to do is to acknowledge what happened and give gratitude for that person, forgive ourselves for buying into the misbeliefs that have led us to current circumstances that perhaps we don't like much. And if you want to move forward in a different direction, it's important for you to practice first that letting go of whom you used to be and know that God is writing a new story. Hey there, it's me, Carla Fitz. I wanted to interrupt the podcast to share something amazing with you. If you have been feeling the nudge in your heart to reconnect with yourself and God in a deeper way, I want to personally invite you to something truly special. This November, I am hosting the Radiant Soul Retreat in Assisi, Italy. Yes, Assisi, the land of Saint Francis, Saint Clare, San Rufino, and Blessed Carlo Acutis. This retreat is for Catholic women who are ready to rediscover the woman God created them to be through beauty, prayer, coaching, community, and rest. We will spend 7 days in the heart of Italy, soaking up the peace of Assisi, walking in the footsteps of the saints, and creating space for God to move within our hearts and our lives. If you are craving clarity, alignment, and simply time to breathe and hear His voice again, this is for you. Spots are limited. Payment plans are also available. If you want to learn more, head to my website, carlafitz.com, and get into the retreat. Or you can also go into the description of the podcast, and in there you will find the link to apply today. I would love to walk with you in the streets of Assisi. Sending you so many blessings and hope to see you soon. God can write a new story. Even when you don't feel like you can, even when you feel like I can't change, there's no way, this is just who I am. This is the way I've always been. I can't change that. That is a lie that we practice too often. And the truth we need to speak to that lie is that God can do anything if we are willing to participate in His miracles. Again, you guys, like we are not the light. We are not the person who's doing the miracles. We are participating in the miracle, right? We are the vessels through which God is doing miracles. If you imagine yourselves as the vase in which He put the wine, you guys are participating in the miracle. You're holding space for that miracle, right? But you are not the person creating the miracle. Your body, your mind, your soul is that vessel that God can utilize for amazing things if you are all willing to participate in those miracles. But in order to actually step into a new version of yourself, you cannot pretend that your past didn't exist. What you can do is heal your relationship with your past self. Have gratitude for the person that she was and the person that she caused you to become in this present time. And also, the next practice is to be grateful for the person you are becoming and making it more intentional that, yes, this is the next version of me. I am becoming her. This is a step in the right direction, and I am not alone. New beginnings are a fabulous moment to let go of the past, to be grateful for the present, and to go all in into our future. One of the things that I absolutely love about life coaching is that it doesn't focus on the past. We don't dwell in the past. We don't repeat the past and repeat the past and repeat the past. What we do is make our peace with our past, become very, very grateful and intentional with our present moment so that we can co-create a much better future united with Him. And this is the opportunity of all of this. I go back to what I said at the beginning. We have a new Pope. We have no idea how things are going to pan out. We have no idea the amazing things he's going to do. We have no idea where God is leading us. But what we can do right now is pray for an amazing Pope, pray for guidance, pray for protection for each one of us in our church. And in our life, we can pray to be present. We can pray to be intentional, and we can pray to be brave. When I saw Pope Leo step onto that balcony, all I saw was emotions. He has very kind eyes, and he was holding so many emotions. And it was just that moment that I realized this is exactly what he's doing. He is transforming. He's being called into a very, very high level mission in his life. And in that moment of becoming, this is what he's doing. I can only imagine what's going in his mind. But he has to let go of the past. He has to be present in that particular moment of becoming a pope. That was such a beautiful example of that. Being present for all of those emotions that were coming for him, I'm sure. And now he needs to step up to be the pope, to be intentional, to be brave, and to be present in this season of life in which God has called them to the next level of himself. And this is for all of us to take as an example for each and every one of our lives. So if there's anything you take away for this particular episode, is forgive yourselves for the things that you have come short on. Be present with your current circumstances. Be willing to see that God can do anything. He can heal everything. He can create everything. And be intentional and brave with your future. My loves, so much can change in such little time. And the miracles that he can do when you are willing are unreal. So to all of you, I hope you're having an amazing, amazing week. Hope you have an amazing weekend. And I'm with you. Sending you so much love. And if you guys want some support, if there is a big ask that God is putting in your heart, come onto Instagram and chat with me. I am happy to hear from you guys, and I love connecting with you, all of you. Also, I wanted to share that we have a new community inside of Substack. That's also where the podcasts are going to live now. And posts will be in there. We will have a little community in there as well that we can connect with. If you don't have Instagram, Substack might be the place that you come join us, and I'm in there. So I would love to connect with all of you. I'm sending you all so many blessings and much, much love. All right, my loves. Until next time, God bless. Thank you so much for listening. If you are ready to dive deeper into creating an aligned life with God at the center of it all, I want to invite you to a one-on-one consultation call with me. This is your chance to explore what is possible for you and to take the next step towards living with more clarity, peace, and joy. Sign up today. The link is in the description. I also want to invite you to leave a review if you have been enjoying these episodes, and make sure to share it with a friend. That way God can reach more and more amazing Catholic women. All right, until next time, God bless.